first interview, and then throughout so far your presentation tonight, you've talked about wanting to immerse yourself and really understand the culture of our district, and that once you understand, then you are able to engage. How do you balance the need for understanding the culture, which obviously takes time, with the need to take immediate action on issues and priorities that the district has? How do you get things done when you have imperfect information?
So I think part of that is going to be me trusting the very experienced central office staff that we have, which I think is a blessing in the school district. I was grateful for the hour I was able to spend with them last week. They all bring great expertise and knowledge of the district. So I think they can help me recognize what are some of those areas that are in need of quicker action. I'm intentionally not using the word immediate action, but where there's no luxury to really take our time and maybe develop a very comprehensive process to study. There may be things that need to happen sooner. So certainly hearing from our principals as well and directors. Some of those may come from bargaining groups, but that collaboration, and that's where those relationships that I spent time talking about in my presentation come into play. That's why I invest so much time in building relationships with people, because we are going to do very difficult work together. And some of it we have the benefit of a long-term planning process, but there are going to be day-to-day things that need decisions. One of the things that I think I'm effective in is, when it becomes clear to me that a decision needs to be made, I'm comfortable making difficult decisions and accepting the consequences. And sometimes you don't have the benefit of all the information that you might like to have. Certainly if it's not one of those situations and it can wait, don't want to make a hasty decision. But at the same time, sometimes people need clarity. And I spent time in the last interview talking about execution during COVID. There were a lot of those decisions. We needed to make a plan. We needed to develop a protocol so that our teachers and students could safely be in schools. That's an example of recognizing that, the kids are coming in 2 weeks. Our teachers and students need to be safe. What are we going to do? How are we going to build a plan? You look at data, you rely on your people, you make a plan, and you have to accept the outcome. So that's a broad question, because those conflicts could take on many different forms. I'd like to start by talking about maybe within our leadership group, and then I can broaden out. So having relationships where people know that I'm here to support effective decision making, and understanding that conflict is a normal part of any organization. We are not always going to agree. There are going to be times when two great people see something differently, and we have to have a challenging conversation to arrive at the best outcome. So we've got to have a culture that supports that. Begins with people knowing one another, developing relational trust, and being willing to engage in difficult conversations. Did that in Mason with our leadership team last year. Started the work, I guess I should say, continuing this year, and really helping them recognize that we're only going to be effective if we have those difficult conversations when we're together, not after the meeting ends in the parking lot. So developing a culture where we can engage in difficult conversations. So I think if we do that at the leadership level first, and we also do that with our bargaining groups as we work through contractual pieces or just things that are happening in our building that someone might object to. The same process can carry out to the community. There are going to be times that people are unhappy with things that happen in the school district. How do we handle that? Listen, and I think it's important to hear. I think it's important to listen to our people in our community. I enjoyed that part of the reception. I heard a handful of things that people weren't thrilled about. I also heard people talk about so many things that they're so proud of in this district. But we need to listen. We need to hear what people have to say. We're not going to make everyone happy, but we need to listen, and we need to make decisions to engage in difficult conversations to get at good solutions.
Thank you. Right, I know that my question comes from the 6th page. And your cover letter to us stated that one of the things that attracted you to Forest Hills was the stability and leadership that the district has had. Can you explain why a history of stable leadership is an important factor for you, and also how you would approach ensuring stability in our administration?
So, when I wrote that, I was specifically referring to the fact that if, you have a superintendent who takes on this very challenging job for 23, I think, years, maybe I'm off a year, sorry, Mike, and then followed up by another one with 17, that tells me that this is an environment where superintendents are supported. The job is too difficult for two people to do that work for this long without a culture of support. And I want to work in a district, and to be completely fair and honest, I do work in a district where that happens. I feel that in Mason now. I have the support of a board. We do very difficult work together, but we do it together. So when I wrote about stable, leadership stability, I think that is an amazing statistic for this district. Probably one that I don't know if there are 5 districts in Michigan that can say that. So that was very appealing to me. Could you ask the second part of the question again?
Absolutely. I just wondered, of course, why that was important to you. Clearly, you've clarified that. But how would you approach ensuring stability in our administration?
So our administrators have very difficult jobs too. So just like I need support from you, they need support from me as well as from our central office. So they need to know that they have the freedom to do difficult work and maybe make some mistakes. We're going to work together and learn and grow together. But one of my most significant job responsibilities is to support our people. And I had the benefit of that as a young administrator with amazing superintendents that supported me, and certainly made some mistakes and learned from them and grew from them. And at year 31 of my career, one of my favorite tasks, not a task, it's a privilege really, but is mentoring. It's, hey, I was a building level administrator for 18 years, and I have the ability to help our younger, less experienced administrators learn and grow, and I learn and grow from them. So I love that part of the work. I certainly, even in a big district like this, I'm going to know every one of our administrators well, and they're going to know that they can call me anytime. And I'm pretty confident we already have that dynamic with Dr. Schubel as well as our assistant superintendents. But I would add my unique flavor to that as well.
So I'm asking the question that isn't anywhere on the sheet, so you don't have to worry about it. Our district is having a difficult time finding quality support staff applicants. What are some ways or ideas you would try in order to hire quality applicants for our support staff positions?
So the reality is that every district faces that challenge because those jobs are very difficult, and you just can't pay people enough to attract enough talent. So certainly you have to offer competitive wages. I'm making an assumption that you already do that. So again, it comes to culture. So what other things make Forest Hills Public Schools an ideal employer for or people in support staff positions. As I said a few minutes ago, I knew I'd have an opportunity to talk about my staff engagement survey. Here it is. So that survey is not just for principals and teachers, it's for every employee in the district. And we'll be able to really look at the data in numerous ways, certainly by building, but also by employee category. And we need to pay attention to what that data is telling us. And really it's defined by both job satisfaction as well as engagement. So you collect data, and then you have the responsibility to action plan around the data. So you can develop a plan and involve that group of people in the planning. You know, what would make them more engaged? What would make them more satisfied? Develop some plans, execute them, give the survey again the following year, and hopefully you see numbers moving in the direction you're looking for. And then re-engage in the same process with the new information.